Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of our podcast
Wow.
that we do not have a name for whatsoever. By the time this episode comes out, we will. As some of you may know, I've had my own podcast recently called the Authenticate Podcast, and I've been shifting my brand for a long time. And I think I've mentioned before previously that I really did not enjoy doing podcasting on my own. It wasn't fun. It was fairly boring. And I've been in search of a co-host for a long time organically. I was not trying to seek anybody out, but I knew when I found somebody that I just jived with and somebody that I knew I was in alignment with and was in alignment with me and just sharing a lot of the same values and views and perspectives and things of that nature. And I have found Devin, my soulmate.
Hello.
One of them. So today, I mean, we're definitely going to talk about what to expect from us on this podcast moving forward in the future. We're both super excited about it. But I really want everyone to get to know Devin today. And I'm sure our conversations will trail organically, but I really less in a way of just like, oh, I want you to get to know like the other hosts of this podcast, but really more that I want people to get to know Devin in the way that I've gotten to know Devin recently and why we're choosing to do this because of, I feel like things that we have shared and ways that we have resonated. And for me, it wasn't even just like, oh, you would be so great like in media with me or something. It was more like you're such an extraordinary person with so many extraordinary stories that are going to change the world and people and help people. And I think she's such a beautiful, amazing person. And I want people to see what I see. And I want her to see what I see in her as well. And I'm just so happy to have her here. And I'm so happy for like the beginning of this new journey for us.
Yay.
How do you feel?
Too. I feel over the moon. It's honestly crazy because I've thought about for a long time speaking. There's actually a note that I found in my notepad at work that I just like will flip through and leave myself random notes to find in the future, which is like a weird way of manifesting. But I found a note and it said motivational speaker. And this must have been from months ago. And it's not saying that like this podcast will be motivational speaking, but it's something that I have.
It will naturally because you naturally do speak that way. So it's like it's like a motivational speaker, but like unintentionally. It's
unintentionally.
Like,
like not in a cheesy way.
No,
like just in a way of just like trying to be like, hey, like I want
you naturally
to
motivate
help
people and lift people. Yeah.
Like stop the negative self-talk or things like that. So it's crazy to be here, like actually here physically. Mm-hmm. It was so funny because I came an hour early on accident and I mean, like I was just so excited and I knew like I wanted to show up a certain way and present myself, you know, as authentically as I can, which is what I admire you so much for since like the moment that I met her at the gym when I was having an asthma attack. Like I honestly, it was just, so we go to the same gym.
Yeah.
And
I guess let's tell people how we've been.
Yeah, we go to the same gym and it was a gym that was very daunting and we have had the same experiences in starting there. And it's like, we both look very, I guess like strong. Yeah. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. Like I would say like a bitch, but.
No, but I think that's where we first resonated together. It's that we're like, we have that natural resting bitch face maybe. Like, I don't know if it's that though. I actually think it's something like deeper that's a little bit more of like a guarded type of thing. Yes.
And that like, I don't even mean to be that way. Here I am like showing up to these classes and I'm like,
I hate being that
way.
I
hope like I make a friend and like I just wasn't making friends. And I even said to you the other day, my mom told me to smile more, which is,
been told that my whole life.
I was trying like when at every station I was like going like that to everybody, but I was like dying, having an asthma attack one day. I think I was just like sick and somebody was smelly. I told you, which I forgot.
They were smelly.
Yeah, they were smelly, but you came up to me like with such like genuine like warmth and light, but you were like hiding in the corner by yourself, but you came up to me. Are you okay? And I was like, I'm okay.
You didn't look well.
Nobody asked either. Like nobody really cared if I was okay. And I was like, no, I'm like, I was like, I'm okay. And I knew then, I was like, I'm going to be friends with this girl. Yeah. And like, I didn't know why.
I did too. I thought the same thing.
Like, I don't even know if I told anyone, like probably Gina, which is like my best friend. I was like, you know what? I I think I'm really going to be friends with that girl.
Yeah.
She just asked me if I was okay, and I could just tell she really meant it.
Yeah.
So I'm just feeling very grateful for this opportunity to have met you, to have been in such alignment, to have met in these circumstances.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy, but it's a wonderful thing. Like, I'm like shaking with excitement.
I agree. And I love that. And I think I do want to talk about like what you want to bring into this, but I want to touch on kind of what you just said quickly, that like I also had the same vibe that I was, I feel like I'm definitely going to be friends with this girl. And right before that, I remember saying to Taylor like a couple weeks before that I was like, I feel like I'm having a hard time like making friends, and like I feel like it's so difficult. And I'm like, I converse with a lot of these girls from the gym on like Instagram, like going back and forth, and you were one of those girls. And I was like, I really just want to I want to stop like just like conversing on the phone, and I really want to go out of my own shell and like talk to people in the gym and like converse with them. And I'm pretty sure like me even asking if you were okay was me stepping out of my shell, because usually I'm just like, more to myself. But where I'm going with that, and I think kind of where you are in your life as well right now, is I feel like romantic relationships, friendships, the ones that align very well for us usually come in during a time when we're more open to that, like, and we're more in alignment with those kinds of like frequencies, if you want to call it. And, we're not in like a more repelling state, but we're in a more receptive state. How do you feel as far as like where you are at in your life right now? Like, I know a lot is shifting for you, and even like in regards to like our friendship and even doing this right now, like it's just a couple things already that are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. I said I was going to do this and now I'm doing it. And now I have like friendships that are aligning, and I have just like pieces are moving and they're all lining up. So how do you feel about that in the sense of like where you're at, and even just your take on that in life, like being like more repelling to certain things and being more receptive as well? And when things just kind of start to quote unquote work out, but there's a reason why they're working out.
Yeah, well, there's definitely a reason that it's working out. I mean, I've worked very hard to get to this point where I am, and there have been a lot of very massive breaking points, whether it's like emotionally or genuinely like physically. If it was something like outwardly, like one that comes to mind physically is that like I got so worked up, so angry, so upset. I don't even remember why it was that I did this, but I broke my own hand. And I told you that, but I didn't really like tell you the story. I think I was on FaceTime with my ex, who at the time was deployed, and I was feeling so lost and stuck. And that was the vibration I was on. That was the frequency I was on. I was every day affirming it. I was every day affirming that I felt sick because of it.
Even subconsciously,
subconsciously, consciously, like I had no
100%
desire.
of your brain
100% of my body, my brain, my everyday thoughts, how I operated was in a state of lack and in a state of scarcity and like non-abundance, in the sense that like I need to get somewhere. Like I don't have it all together and I need to get there. And the fact that I'm not there at this point, what was I, like 24 years old, that I didn't think that I had that. And that was affirmed in my everyday talk. And this FaceTime call that I had at probably 9 a.m. with my ex, who's deployed, doing something serious when we were all in Afghanistan. And grabbed the swivel chair that I had and literally broke my hand like this. So that was like a physical breaking point. Yeah. And it had to be, and this is how life is, you have multiple situations such as that replay themselves until you get the point.
The lesson
so that was painful. Obviously, I've never broken a bone. That was extremely loud, that lesson. But of course, I had to go through it again. Yeah. And so I kept finding myself go through that. And I decided finally, like the discomfort of trying something new and going out there and going to the gym and like stepping outside of my comfort zone was going to be a different kind of pain, but a better
I was just going to say that. It's different pain.
Than feeling stuck and affirming that, I would say out loud, I'm sick, like all the time.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
Based on like my day, or that I would affirm that I didn't have enough time to do XYZ. Yeah. I always had enough time. Yeah. It was just the way that I was speaking to myself. So taking that conscious shift, working out physically and working in terms of energy healings and things like that, it took a couple years, but it's definitely because I've changed my frequency and the way that I navigate my daily life that I have attracted people like you. That I know as fact.
Would you say then, with all of that being said, and thank you for sharing all of that, but with all that being said, would you say then that it was taking action. Like it was,
Oh, yeah.
it was choosing to be different at that point instead of waiting for to be different. Cause we know that that never happens, especially when we're in like that sick mindset, whether it's like I'm ill, or I know like mine for a long time was I just have anxiety. Like I'm just, I will always will. This will always be me. Like I'll always be like crippled by it. I'll always be like even years ago, like when I, you know, years and years ago before like any of this for myself, like it was kind of like I hate being alone, I'm scared of being alone. And it's like you hope one day that it will just change. Like I remember thinking like, well, okay, I'm sure when I have kids one day and I'm married, like then I'll like being alone, like I'm sure. And it just doesn't happen that way. And it's like you actually have to force yourself into these realities. And I really love what you said, that like when you were talking about like breaking your hand, it was like physical pain, but when as soon as you said that and then you ended up saying it yourself, but all I kept thinking in my head as well was that like there's always pain to get to one of these points. Right. And I don't want to like glorify or like romanticize suffering at all. Like I think like we do that a lot now, where it's like you gotta like struggle to get there, and that's not always true. But I think if you're in like a an involuntary struggling phase right now, or suffering phase, like it's you do have to take action to get out of it. You can't just wait for it to pass. No. And like I was saying to somebody earlier on another podcast that like you have to like, he was saying like you have to I think he said like be as if, so you have to like live as if, and I like finished his sentence by saying like and it will. So you have to live as if what you're thinking or who you want to be, and then like it will line up that way. It will be that way, but vice versa. Like when you're living every day being like I'm sick, no one likes me, like I'm this and I'm that, like your brain has to, and I don't know if you remember this from the Louise Hay's book, that You Can Change Your Life, but she actually talks in that book about how the narratives that we have in our brain and like the thoughts that we have about ourselves, our words need to match our reality. So like if we're waking up every day and we're like, I'm so lazy, like you're going to be acting in lazy ways. But if you go and change, I'm so sick from like, no, I'm not actually like I'm not, and I'm going to get out of the house and I'm going to go to the gym. Like that narrative doesn't get to stay alive anymore. Right. Like if I say, like the one that I use very commonly is, if I say I'm lazy and I'm sitting around all day and I'm not doing anything, it's like, yeah, I'm lazy. But if I wake up that day and I work out and I, you know, go do the podcast and I pour into my business and I pour into my friendships and I pour into my relationships, like I don't get to say at the end of the day that I'm lazy. It's just not true anymore.
No, it's just
not
so
true.
Silly.
Right. It doesn't make sense anymore.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, the one that I catch myself in now, because it's even like, even with all this work that we're doing, like there are people that like you would say that are quote unquote like enlightened or whatever, that still fall through these negative patterns. And like you look at them, people that are your role models, and you're like, wait, this person does this, and that's because we're all human. So it's at the end of the day, even Louise Hayes, I'm sure will say sometimes, oh, that was so stupid of me or something. And she might not even, you know, catch it, even though she is such a great woman.
Just being a human.
So the one that lately I've been saying out loud, especially at work, and it's just like automatic, it's kind of like a stim, is, I'm so worried.
Yeah, that's
and I'm like, wait. No, like worry is the word that I'm choosing. It was for many years, like during the end of college, which I was like very sick with stomach issues, probably from all my anxiety. But I would say like, I'm so sick, I'm so ill. Now it's, I'm so worried. Like I'll go sit down at my computer. I know all the tasks I have to do. Yeah. I know that I'm going to get them all done. I know that it's not a big deal if I don't get XYZ done. I'm going to have a pretty similar day to all my other days. So why am I sitting down and going, oh, I'm so worried?
Yeah, it's automatic.
About what?
Yeah.
What is it that you're worried about? And why am I choosing these words to say? Yeah. And I'll outwardly say like, actually, no, I'm not.
Yeah, because your brain, if you're sitting there saying, I'm so worried, your brain's going to be like, okay,
we're worried.
What is there to worry about?
Let's look everything to be worried about.
Let's look for all the things to worry about.
When in reality, I'm sitting there. But now I'm like, I can catch it.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm more grounded, which I've been not trying, you shouldn't say trying. I am doing every day. I'm making steps to do so.
Yeah.
And noticing that I'm saying, I'm so worried, but then saying, actually, no, I'm not. And then correcting it with whatever it is that I'm thinking. Like, I'm so worried. Actually, no, I'm not. I just have to get this done.
Yeah. That catching it, though, is like that. I think I don't know if you've been this way before, but I think a lot of people think that getting to like the other side of things means like I'm so worried turns into like I never think that way anymore.
No.
But I really think like catching it is actually, it's almost like being in the I'm worried or I'm sick state is where we kind of start. Like it came from something. And then I think moving into the phase of still doing it, but catching it and being like, wait, no, I'm doing something differently. That is the way longer stage. Like, I don't even know if, I don't personally know anybody that's ever gotten out of that stage. And like, that's, to me, like that's the enlightened stage is it's not perfection and it's not, I'm not worried at all anymore or I don't speak like that anymore. It's more just like, I catch myself when I do and I correct myself. Like I have the awareness to do so. And I also have like the self-discipline and the patience and the emotional regulation to be in the pause of wait, no, we're not. I hear you, but we're not doing that
But we're
anymore.
not actually worried.
But we're not actually worried,
Like,
100%.
Don't you dare tell me again that I'm worried.
Don't you
I'm
dare.
actually not even worried, but my brain is telling me that I'm worried and I'm speaking it out loud to others. Like,
and do you ever see that sometimes, I know this happens to me as well, where like, I'll still have a thought like that and I really will subconsciously start looking for it. Like I'll be like, I'll find myself sigh sometimes. Like I'll just let out a big sigh and I'm like, what the fuck are you sighing about? I'm like, you're literally outside. Like you just like, why are you sighing?
You walk outside in the sun, you're like,
literally. And I'm like, what are you sighing? And I'll catch it. And I'm like, what are you sighing about? Like it's just automatic to have like this like stressed, like just like this.
Well, it's so funny because you're somebody who's very cognizant about other people's behaviors because if I were to walk outside with you and I sighed, I know for a fact you'd be like, are you okay? Yeah. Meanwhile, you do it yourself and you're just like, whatever, like this is the way I behave. Like,
right. Yeah, if I was with somebody and I walked outside with them and they'd sighed, I'd be like, are you mad at me? Like, are you okay?
It'd be
like,
a bit much, but this is the way that we're carrying ourselves. But, you know, the fact that we do notice it or the fact that I can say I am starting to notice it more is very beautiful because it's an opportunity.
It is. Life's an opportunity. We're filled with them, right? So let everyone know, this is definitely the direction that I feel like we're going to talk a lot about. There's so much that goes into the things that we're talking about as well. And I know that another element in the same realm, but different, that I know we both want to talk about a lot as well, is like wellness and physical health and food and fitness and things like that. And again, we're having a very just like, not that it's a surface level conversation right now, but we're just having a conversation right now. But I know I want to talk a little bit more about that side of things for you as well. Like I know that when I first met you and started going to the gym, and I tell you this every day and I will tell you it for the rest of your life, that like when I look at you, I'm like, she has not even like a sick body. You look so strong, like in a beautiful way. I know that we go back and forth sometimes that we're like, do we look like lesbians? Like, are we?
I mean,
but when I first saw you, I'm like, she has such an amazing physique. Like you don't have a physique that looks like, oh, like she works out. Like you have like you look like an athlete. Like what is that journey for you? I know your mom, was it both of your parents were bodybuilders or just your mom?
They were. No, my mom and my dad.
They both were.
So they were in college, yes. So they went to Cortland. I went to Cortland.
Oh, they both went to Cortland.
They both went to Cortland. That's how they met.
Wow.
And they both, I think, got into bodybuilding together. I don't know if they were in it already
Before
and they met
meeting.
each other.
Okay.
I don't remember the story, kind of irrelevant.
Yeah.
Fact of the matter is they both were great athletes. They were great athletes like their whole lives, and they kind of just rekindled that in this form or state of bodybuilding. But like the more that I look back at them, like I always thought growing up that they were like really big. Like they're pretty like looking at my physique now, knowing that and just for an update, like I was always like into fitness and everything like that, but I kind of fell off and like was depressed, you know. It happens.
Yeah.
And went through things.
I mean, I don't know if it happens to all of us, but it happens to me
happens.
too.
It happens.
Yeah.
It just does.
It does.
Like I was really skinny. I wanted to wither away. Didn't want to be here anymore.
Right. Your body's like a reflection of
I was just like
the inside,
in pain,
small
telling
and,
myself I'm
frail.
ill and worried every day.
Right.
But anywho, I got back into it for real. Maybe I want to say I started OG, I think, in November.
Okay.
But then I was going to the gym September, October, going to ProFit, having a good time, like remembering that I do like really, really like this and that it's such like for a while I was like so afraid of being perceived. And that was just the narrative that I was telling myself too. Like I would like hyperfixate on so many things.
You've said that to me before. Would you, I think I know what you mean, but I don't explain what you mean by the fear of being perceived.
Like literally being seen as a person.
Yeah.
Like in public. Yeah. Like it's such a crazy and big thought. And it's also crazy to think that a lot of people have never had that thought. They've never had that thought. And for so many years, I didn't. That was never a thing.
See, that's interesting to me that it wasn't like I think I've become less that way now, but I think I was always like that. So I think it's interesting that you weren't like that and then you
I was never like that. I was very like, especially as a child, like I was very tomboy.
Yeah.
Like very like questionable. Like I would go to the store and I'd be growling. Like obviously not at like a verbal talking age. Maybe I could talk and I would be like growling at men, but like is that afraid of being perceived? No, that's wanting to be heard.
Yeah.
So it was like and I was also very defiant. So that coupled with such a stark difference of being depressed and then all of a sudden going into yourself that much and like looking at myself in the car or even unable to look at myself because I just was so afraid of what I was seeing because I knew it didn't align with how I like saw myself, and then to see like a reflection, which was the culmination of all your actions up to this point, but now that you're seeing it, you're like, I don't know what to do here.
Absolutely.
So that's what I mean in the sense of like afraid of being perceived. Like going to the gym was such a daunting thought, like just stepping into the gym and having people look at me.
Well, I think that's a very that's a very felt experience. There's a lot there's a lot of people with gym anxiety. Like a lot of people.
Well, the gym is like a bigger scale. Yeah. But like I'm saying like
I agree with
gas
you.
station.
Same.
Like afraid to go to the gas station.
I used to pull up the 7-Elevens and I would see like if there was more than one person in the 7-Eleven, I was like reverse. I'm like, I'm leaving. I don't want to. I just don't.
Like what's the fear? And then there were such like other days that I'm like on top of the world. Yes. I'm like, I actually want everyone to see me. Yeah. Which is what I'm stepping back into now as well because I know that is the real me.
Yeah. It's very obviously the real you.
It is like, the real me, and like letting go of that kind of like guarded feel because it did serve a purpose in my life for so long. It really kept like those people at bay, like the people that I knew like weren't going to fuck with me. And then opening that up now is making me just feel so much better. I mean, I see other girls and I'm like, why isn't she talking to me?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's because I'm coming off in such a way. I might not mean it.
Well, I think it does go back to the fear of being perceived thing because you said that was a newer fear for you. I know that I've always had that, and I've definitely tried to step out of it now. I forced myself out of it, but I do think that the fear of being perceived thing like your energy doesn't lie, and I do think it's a little repelling because in a way it's like you're not physically doing it, but you're kind of like this.
No,
like,
oh my
don't
God.
look at me. So when you walk into a gym, like I shared with you that when I first started going there, like I used to leave and I would cry because I'm like, I feel like nobody wants to go near me. Like I felt like repulsive. Like I felt like there has to be something wrong with me. Like I told you that the class would be full. Everybody had a partner, and I'm like, how is it possible that I'm by myself right now?
Wouldn't have a partner.
How is
no
it
one
like,
wants to be my partner.
Somebody, they'd have to like walk somebody over to me and be like, work with Kate. And I'm just like
raise your hand if you have no partner.
Right.
Me raising my hand.
Right. And it's like, and I think that's like, what we were saying about your thoughts creating your reality. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy that you get to go home now and cry and be like, nobody likes me. Like, like something's wrong with me. But it's that fear of being perceived that's just like bleeding through, like it's coming through. And people, I think there's twofold to it, because I do agree with you that I think we both do give off an energy sometimes that might be like a little.
Well, it's kind of, I don't want to say it in a bad way, but I think it's more alpha.
Yes. It's a little intimidating. And I don't want to say that sounding like a pick-me. Like I don't want to sound like, I do too. I do. I think it's a strong energy. I think it's a very like beautiful thing. But yeah, I think you mix, it's almost like certain days, because days when I am in like that positive, strong energy, I do find people like wanting to work with me or wanting to talk to me or like wanting to whatever. But when I'm in like that hood up, go sit in the corner, like nobody talks to me, like why would anybody be like, let me go work with that girl in the corner who looks like she's about to like off herself
punch
or something.
Everybody
yeah, like let me
like
like not like
perhaps I want to work with her. No.
Yeah, no. So the other thing I wanted to ask you about like your parents with bodybuilding, and we'll get like this is probably like another like episode for us honestly to talk about, but I'm curious because I know that so much has changed now, and again we'll talk way more about this, but so much has changed now with like food and the food industry and diet culture from then till now. So I'm curious, growing up with your parents as bodybuilders, like now, you know, you have bodybuilders that I'm sure still do things like the very like classic way, but you have some women now that are trying to be more, and I don't know how possible it even is to be as a bodybuilder to be like hormonally conscious, but what I'm trying to get at is that did they have any habits with food that, you know, from their industry that growing up came off onto you that maybe weren't healthy, of like restricting or counting, or not that any of that stuff is bad? They didn't have any.
Genuinely none.
Interesting.
Like they only did, and I don't mean to like belittle them in any way. They competed in college. They didn't.
Okay, so it wasn't in
do
your
it
childhood.
outside of their So they were very normal body.
Okay. I thought that they were competing while
I think that the genetics play a very big role in the way that I just carry muscle, and the way that I'm athletic.
Yeah.
But no. There were no restrictions. I think a lot of the reason that they were so successful is because they both had really hard childhoods.
Yeah.
And they both were poor growing up, and they did a lot of sports, and that really was their life. I mean, it was horrible at home for both of them. They didn't really talk about it enough. Like the older I get, the more I realize just how tumultuous their childhoods were in terms of how much that they gave me. But that's really all they had. They had their friends, and they had athletics, and they excelled in that because, one, they were built for it, and two, that's
yeah.
So that carried into, I think, the sense of being good at bodybuilding. You have to, like, anybody who's like a fighter, a bodybuilder, or someone that chooses to do something to that extreme extent, not obsessed. I feel like you have to like have a trauma too. Like, what are you doing this for? Because it's painful.
Right. I don't think you can drive that obsession with, I shouldn't say that you shouldn't. I think I think going back to what you were saying about having like some kind of trauma or whatever, like I do think that they're more capable of like sacrificing in a way. Like they're more capable of, again, giving it like their all. And even if there are like painful parts to it, whether it's like cutting weight or it's like working relentless hours or something, like they're just used to, I don't even want to say like used to pain, but kind of like there's just like, it's not
knowing that it's, I think both of my parents learned early on that it was going to be painful, like their lives were going to be painful. And I think that's something that my father, I don't know if he's working on that, not affirming that for himself. I know my mom is not affirming that anymore, and she's done a lot of growth, and she does not live a painful life. I mean, in some ways, yes. But noticing that, like, their pain was going to end. Like, they knew that at the end of the day, somebody was going to come home and somebody was going to feed them. No matter how poor they were, they knew that it was going to end, or the abuse was going to end at some point, or the neglect or abandonment was going to end at some point. Like, but it was periods of time. So people like that are so intense, and I get a lot of that from the both of them, shows kind of their mental fortitude rather than how they never forced any of that upon us. We were a very healthy household. My mom's a gymnastics coach, and she was all growing up as well. She's also a health phys ed teacher, so sports med. Now she works in admin, but my whole life she was very sporty. So, but in a healthy way. Yeah. And never pigeonholed or had us do anything extreme or nothing like that.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
What do you want to get out of this, like the podcast in general? Like, what do you want to be talking about? What topics do you think you want to be bringing to the surface and really driving home with people?
Well, I want to tie in science because I do have a degree in that. Sorry, just moved the mic. So I want to tie in science, spirituality, which was like something that I also struggled with, doing both things at the same time, because as somebody who graduated with a degree in biomedical science, which is a degree that people don't really have unless you have you go on to be a doctor. Right. You go on.
It's like a prerequisite kind of degree.
Right. Or you actually go to be like a scientist, which I do. My lab partner, shout out Jonathan, is a scientist now. Like, that's so cool. He works in a lab. He works and doing crazy research. So you could do that. You could have went to be a dentist or, gone on to PA school. Like, you don't really have this degree coupled with with what I'm doing.
Right.
Like it's kind of just like a little bit different. So I always thought that perhaps going into spirituality or even talking about that, those people that are science brained, a lot of the time it doesn't match. It kind of just like goes like this.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that it might discredit how they think of me in the science world. Even though I didn't really know what I was going to do with that, I never really tapped into the spirituality aspect of that.
Okay.
So that science, spirituality, and self-growth all together on like a science-based level that's digestible and very real, that's what I want to portray and honestly talk about with everybody else. I mean, it's something that is easy if you're open to it.
If you're open to it, right.
If you're open to it. Otherwise, it's extremely hard.
Yeah.
But I know that there are people who would love to listen and share my experiences with you, talk with you, and just genuinely grow in a sense of, I guess, identity.
Yeah.
That's what I would like to do.
I love that. I agree. I think that that's where me and you have really aligned recently is on like the science side of things, mixed in with the spirituality and mixed in with the wisdom and mixed in with the life experience. Like it's all of these things coming together. And I agree with you. I think even in like the work I was doing previously, or I still am doing, but with relationships and with life and with mental health, like I really enjoyed, and as I've shared with you, like getting to like the why of things and the how of things.
Well,
and, like,
I need to know that. Just the person that I am.
I always need to know why.
I need
how.
to understand both aspects. And even with a degree in biomed, they can't explain both. It's capped unless you go into the quantum, which is something that I would love to talk about with you. And I know that we're going to talk about, that is reality.
Right.
But they don't really teach that unless you're on like some crazy Albert Einstein wavelength, which isn't readily attainable or like accessible for everybody. And I think that we would do like a really good job of showing people that it is more accessible than you think.
Like at your fingertips though.
Yeah.
Like it's already here.
It's
like
the
it's
law.
already exactly. It's already happening. It's like your I don't want to say like birthright, but it's just already happening chemically in your body every single day. And it's what I've learned as well is it's, again, these things are always happening, but it's going in and just manipulating the circuit a little bit. Like it's like we all have a brain, we all have these wires, we all have, neuroplasticity, we all have all of these systems. And for the most part, like if we're talking about like the average healthy human being, but it's all there. Like everybody, it's almost like the way I look at it is that everybody has their toolbox. And I feel like me and you our goal in this is like opening up the toolbox with everybody and just like showing them like
literally just
this
showing
is how
them.
you use that. Like that's how you use that.
Like this is something for you to do. And you can do it, and there's nothing holding you back.
Literally nothing,
like
but your own ability,
thoughts.
or not even ability, your own resistance to it.
Right. Well, the resistance is huge.
Yeah.
I was so resistant towards getting help and towards coming into this version of myself. I can't tell you why.
You know what's funny? I remember one day I was working with my therapist, and I shared with you that she's also like an energy healer, and I've been with her for a long time, and she knows me very, very well. And I remember she texted me one day that she was doing some kind of energy healing or meditation or something, and she was just going through her clients in her head and just, connecting with them. And she always will do something with me. I gave her like lifetime access to doing that kind of stuff, even if I'm not there or it's not in session. And she texted me one day. She was like, I hope you don't mind. I did a little bit of like a reading for you and just like intuitive messages. And what she sent me at first was so interesting because as I was reading it, of course, like my ego as I was reading it got like a little offended, but it was about my anxiety, and it was about how me and her constantly would go in circles about me not feeling good enough, me feeling shameful, me feeling guilt, me feeling
bad
word, the S word. It's the bad word.
Shame.
And she, in the reading that she did, trying to connect of like, why does my client, like, why won't Kate, like, she's
let
like,
this go.
She's so self-aware. She's all these things. Like, she's her own coach now. She's like, why can't she? Like, it made no sense to her. And it made no sense to me anymore. I'm like, I know better. Why can't I break away from this thing? And what she received was really, at first, I was like, wait, like a little insulted, but it was really beautiful and it was really true. And it was that my anxiety, she's like, you actually don't want to let go of it. And I was like, why would I not want to let go of this thing? Like, that's so, why would you even think that? Like, of course, I would I would chop off my right arm if you told me I never had to feel the way that I feel anymore. Like, it didn't make any sense to me. But deeper into the reading, it was like, it was my safety net that she didn't, it was like, Kate doesn't want to let go of her anxiety because of what she'll have to step into and the accountability and the responsibility of not having it anymore. And even how being an anxious person keeps you safe. When you have something wrong with you, people feel bad for you. People, it was this idea that like, if I'm an anxious person and I'm always on edge and I'm always this and I'm always that and I'm kind of like this victim, nobody will hurt me. They'll just feel bad for me. So it was almost a sense of, you don't want to let this thing go because you're actually scared if you let this thing go of almost the vulnerability around it, that you're more susceptible to either being hurt or being left. It's like people won't leave me if like I'm a battered whatever. Like it's so people sometimes want to hold on to their pain because they do think it keeps them safe. Like they do think being small keeps them safe, even if it's not happy. And I remember the Course in Miracles book, what is it, with Marianne Williamson, A Return to Love, the like famous quote that she talks about, that people aren't scared of their inadequacy, like they're scared of their greatness. Like that's really what they fear. And I forget, somebody was just like, that's like that quote is so stupid. Like, why would we be scared of being great? Like, why? That makes no sense. Like, everybody wants to be great. And I just think it's the responsibility that comes with it. Like, if I want to be great and I want to be this like emotionally and mentally healthy person, and I want to be self-disciplined, and I want to, whatever, have this kind of life, it doesn't just show up that way. Like, you have to show up for it. Like, you have to, if you want to be a super secure, mentally stable, emotionally regulated partner, like, you have to practice emotional regulation. You have to learn how to curb your emotions. Like, you need to learn how to not react anymore. Like, you need to learn to swallow your pride. You need to, like, so there's a lot that comes with like these dream versions of ourselves that I think a lot of people in the world are like, I'd rather just stay the way I am than have to take, like you said, that big word accountability for who I want to be.
It's very true. I mean, the only thing that I could think about when you were saying all of that is, not only do you have to like show up for yourself to make that change, what I was thinking was surrender. It's accountability coupled with surrender. So that's
so hard.
It's hard. It's scary. It doesn't give you certainty. Your brain doesn't like it. It can't really,
it goes
unless you're
it.
in the right mindset and you're consciously every day making those steps to affirm that, your brain is going to think bad things because you're surrendering.
It has to close the gap.
It has to close the gap. It's going to say what it knows. So like, when going back to what you said about being a victim, like it's interesting because you're saying that you felt anxious your whole life. Not me. I didn't even know what that meant in my body until my 20s, which is a beautiful thing that I didn't know that. I'm sure I was anxious growing up, but it showed up in ways of throwing up. From a child, I was able to throw up on command, which is disgusting. But let's just say I was being punished, this is what it comes back to. It's very interesting. I was being punished as a child a lot. I was very defiant. I liked it. It was funny. I liked getting a rise, really, seriously. And whenever I would be put in timeout, so this was a conscious decision from this age, I would throw up because I knew I would get help.
You'd get out of timeout.
So that was for years until I was put in timeout in the bathtub and nobody would come for me anymore. I would have to change the way that I was going to get somebody to care about me again.
You have to do something else now.
Those feelings of my stomach hurting were replayed throughout my childhood. I just thought that I had like acid reflux and heartburn like horribly all the time, which obviously is anxiety. But in that period, which is so starkly different to how it is now, it wasn't really identified as anxiety unless it was like crippling and like I was doing poorly in school, which I never did. Or I was like struggling to make friends, which I never really did. It was just the sense of just like sometimes my stomach would hurt. Now let's revisit it to college when I'm trying to finish my degree and I'm like in a sorority and I'm trying to be so many different things and show up in so many different ways. I was addicted to Adderall. I was partying too much. I was sleeping 4 to 6 hours a night. And I woke up, this is how it happened. I woke up and my ears were ringing so loudly And I felt and heard my heartbeat in my ears. And that had never, ever, ever happened to me. And in that moment, I was like, I'm going to die right now.
So like your first panic attack.
That was my first, yeah. And I must have had tests or multiple tests because at that point, like, I was taking like 5 science courses at once. So I had tests probably like 5 a week. And I remember waking up and feeling that way. And I was like, holy shit, this is what people deal with. This is what my sister struggles with every day. Like, there's no way. Like, I thought this was, and I'm sure this is how so many other people do still think. And that's why I can resonate so much. Trust me, I thought that way. I really did. Perhaps you haven't gotten to a moment in your life where you've experienced anxiety, and you are so blessed for that.
Everybody does eventually, though.
Eventually,
right? Like, I will say that like, I always thought, because I had it kind of like you growing up. I didn't have my first panic attack until I think I was 17. And I was on my couch and I couldn't breathe and I had no idea what was happening.
And you're like, what is this?
No idea. So I actually didn't.
No one told you. No one's going to tell you, like, hey, you're
My
anxious.
mom was like, you're being dramatic or whatever. But I was like, no, I need to go to the hospital. Like, I can't, I'm dying. I can't breathe. Yeah. But
like something's like physically wrong with me.
But you actually, like, it's not just
because I didn't have a logical
it's like you're
reason.
Convinced. Right. You're convinced that, like, no, like, something's bad. So before that, I was like you. Like, they thought I was lactose intolerant. They thought I had allergies. They thought, like, it was always my stomach. I always had stomach issues my entire life, like, always. And then I don't think, like, the true anxiety came on until, like, you know, the classic anxiety, at least, till also, like, my late teens, early 20s. But I always remember having, like, friends that were just not anxious people. It was, like, the whole ignorance is bliss thing. And I was like, wow, like, they're really going to live their entire life, like, never feeling anxiety. And it's just not true. And I'm not saying that in a way of like, haha, like it comes around to everybody. It's just it's a human experience. Like, you can't, it's almost like saying, you know, someone that's super happy and they'll never feel sadness or grief. Like, they will one day. And I do think, you know, even people that I see that experience it later on, like in their 20s or their 30s for the first time, I think it's a very pivotal experience. Like, when the older you are when you experience it, because I do think it forces you, I don't want to say that it humbles you, but it does a little bit, in a sense of like, wait, like, this is a painful human experience. Like, this is a painful emotional experience. And I think some people get stuck in it, honestly. But I don't know. I just think that it teaches resiliency and it teaches some compassion for others and empathy for others. But yeah, I definitely think it's a universal experience. Obviously, some more than, you know, there's like disorderly anxiety or whatever. But I do think that it's not an experience that you can ever not have. And I do think the turning point for me with it has been just changing your relationship with it, because everyone's always going to feel anxious at some point. But now I don't think I've discussed this with you before as well, that like, I don't really judge that part of me anymore. And I don't try to like shove it into a closet anymore. Like, when it shows up, I'm like, oh shit, I'm anxious today. Like, I'm feeling a certain way today. Like, this situation's really stressing me out. And it's just like making space for it and not making meaning out of it. Like, it's just okay that it's here. Like, it's
just an observation of the emotion.
Observing it, that it's like, okay, I'm really anxious today, or okay, like I used to always make meaning out of it. Like, I always was like, why? Like, I don't know how we were just saying, I needed to know why. Why am I anxious today? Why is this happening? Is there something wrong with me? Is there a chemical imbalance? Is it something, like, I needed to figure it out, when I just don't think there's always something to figure out. Sometimes you're just anxious.
It could just be multiple variables too.
So like, many,
quit trying to like pinpoint it.
Right.
It could be multiple things, but also perhaps you're mislabeling anxiety.
Yeah.
You could be excited.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're tagging anxious. I'm anxious about that.
Right.
Even though really you're just excited for that moment, and your brain doesn't know the difference between nervousness and excitement in that moment or so. But like you were saying, trying to just also appreciate that side of yourself that notices like, hey, alarm, I feel anxious. Like, it could just be actually a good thing, noticing that, okay, I feel this way. Maybe it's something that you're anxious about all the time.
Yeah. Maybe, Maybe
now you're
pattern.
noticing it. Yeah. Like, every day you're waking up, you're going to work, you're anxious.
Yeah.
Why are you anxious?
At this
it's literally
time, every
the
day.
same thing.
Right.
Like, what are you anxious about? Are you anxious that you're living a life that you feel like isn't being fulfilled?
It's anxiety is a messenger, for sure.
But that's a choice.
Yeah.
So now you could be anxious, like perhaps, let's just say in my situation, I have a job right now I really, really love. I work in plastic surgery. It's something that I thought was going to be a stepping stone between now and medical school, and I've decided since then that I don't want to go to medical school. Now, it feels a little out of alignment going to a job where it's kind of different with what I want to do with my whole entire future. I would like to work towards my goals rather than towards my boss's goals, which, no disrespect, I love the business. I love helping people. But waking up every day and feeling anxious is a choice then, because I know I'm going to work. I'm grateful for my job. I love the people that I work with. This doesn't have to be where I am at forever. Now, am I going to choose to be anxious about it all day or not?
Or grateful for it.
Or grateful.
Yeah.
So how about just accept, appreciate, and acknowledge that I'm actually exactly where I need to be right now, that I'm here with you, that I'm being shown these opportunities that I'm just tapping into because I'm rising up to that frequency, for lack of a better analogy. That's what I am grateful for. Yeah. And guess what? The anxiety or the red flags getting to that, I'm also grateful for.
I was just going to say that like I feel like they're almost like, what's the word? Like love letters sometimes. Like I feel like, yes, there's times where it's like, okay, maybe it's hormonal. Maybe it's you had too much sugar or something you ate that you're feeling just a little jittery today and you're calling it anxiety. But I don't know. I feel like if you have something to be anxious about, like, I know that this might sound like twisted, but it's a good thing. It's like you're being presented an opportunity to not feel that way anymore. It's like if this is showing up and, you know, I'm really anxious about this new opportunity, or I'm really anxious about, even like if you're in like a relationship that makes you anxious, that's still giving you an opportunity
to change that.
To change, whether it's change within the relationship or leave or do something different. Like anxiety is, it's like I feel like it's almost the like the fork in the road that shows up.
It is. And when you attach shame to it, which I did for so long, in the sense of like, I felt like I shouldn't be on medicine. Like my ex would tell me, he's like, oh, you're going to have to be on medicine forever. And I really, truly believed that. Yeah. I was like, well, I just need it. Yeah. Like my brain says I need it. I need it. Like I'm going to be a bitch if I don't have it. I'm going to be crazy. I'm probably going to yell at somebody that I don't mean to yell about. I've really, really calmed down from that. Honestly, I mean, a lot of people do know me as being dramatic. That's one of the main words that describe me. I love it. I think it's a great thing. Better than being boring. Right. But in the sense that he would be like, oh, what are you gonna do? Like, and he would say things like, what are you gonna do when you get pregnant? Yeah. I'm like, I guess be insane. Yeah. I guess not be able to control myself. Right.
I guess be this shameful human being.
Right. But I like genuinely thought that that's what reality would be like.
And it's like, not.
It's just not. Like I didn't have I'll share, because honestly, I really do like when people share what medicine they were on, and it shows like a very different side of them. Like when I see other people on podcasts and they're like, I'm on this and this, I'm like, she's a real bitch. She's really on that. Right. So I was on like a very high dose of lamotrigine, and I was on Prozac or something as well. I cut the Prozac or I
remember the story.
Whatever, like I cut those out. I was like, yeah, whatever. I think I just need the mood stabilizer. Especially after breaking my hand, I was like, damn. Like I guess I have a real problem. Like I guess I gotta go on meds. No, like holy shit. Like, and there's no shame in that. If you have a period in your life or chemistry imbalance in your brain, or you went through something,
I was
there's
on
no
them,
shame.
Then against them, and now I really like seeing them as like a bridge at this point.
It's a bridge. It's
you're
like a Band-Aid.
Suffering, like
you don't have to.
It's not loving to not make it's not loving to let yourself suffer if like something is actually off.
You're not like taking the moral high road. Like you're not showing like, oh, I don't take meds.
Right.
Like,
meanwhile, I'm crashing out every day and losing my shit. And I'm 30 pounds underweight, but like I'm not going to take anything. It's like who like.
Meanwhile, I want to wither away, but literally, you can take a pill that can help you. And do you have to be tied to that pill forever?
No, they work as a great bridge. And listen, some people, I mean, everyone's different, but I think that they absolutely work as a bridge sometimes to get people to put the fire out, to get people like out of the fire and to help them be able to implement the proper tools. Right. But I think that's where people go wrong. I think that the medications are way overly prescribed.
Oh my God.
Like you walk in with a stomach ache and they're like, you have anxiety, here's a Zoloft script or whatever. Like I think they're way too overprescribed. And then I think the other problem is people go on them and they see them as like, this is my treatment now. And
well,
it's like,
they identify with it now.
It's like no, this is this is your like, this is a little bit of like your life raft right now. Like it's like maybe you were trying to swim before in the middle of the ocean in the middle of a hurricane. You still need to learn how to swim, but maybe with like a floaty in the pool now. Like it's like you still have to learn how to swim. Like you can't just rely on this thing for the rest of your life and not. I think it helps people sometimes implement the tools that they need to learn. Some people are so just like out of whack and out of alignment that they can't even absorb the right help at the time. They can't even absorb the right.
But I wasn't even willing to get the help. I was like,
well, that's what the first when I went on him. That's how I was too. I was like, oh, perfect. Let's
I'm
take
such
this
a
thing
strong
and
person. Like, if everybody tells me I'm strong, I know I'm strong. My whole life I've been strong. Now I feel this way. Like, how dare I go on something? Like, that's the thoughts that I would have. Like, how dare I ask for help? Like, I literally would not like hug people. I would not like not cry at movies. Like, just like weird things that are just like, are you?
Yeah.
Like
everything.
But just because I was a strong person and I knew I was. Like, I wanted to go into the military at one point. Like, I was looking at schools with ROTC programs. Like, I was like, that's going to be me. And then I was like, I'm going to be a medic in the army when people get like really messed up. That's going to be me because I'm so strong. And then I was like, I'm going to be this because I'm so strong. I mean, the narrative continues in the sense of my body and the way that I'm working at my fitness goals now, but I was so unwilling to get that help. But in the sense of medication and everything, I mean, like I said, I was addicted to Adderall as well, which is really how I like got into that. I was like, I can't get my tasks done, which I wasn't. I was so stressed at school that I was like, I cannot function. And it was the first time in my life that I felt that way. I was like, I'm looking, and my professors were coming up to me, and they know, and I'm a very active listener. Like,
I know.
So like you'll see, like as the podcasts go on, like I'm very like
nodding,
and I work in healthcare as well, and I work for surgeons. So like if they say something, they're like, "Are you going to get that right?" And you're like, they're like, "Are you going to order that medicine and put that in the chart?" I'm like, and they're like, "Do this girl's?" I work in plastics, so does this girl's breast look amazing? Oh my God, amazing, the best, but. Anywho, back to that. That's when I really like thought, okay, I can't perform on these tests.
Yeah.
The professors are coming up to me. Shame. Here we go. Shame again. I'm like, oh my God, I'm ashamed. I need something to help me. Yeah. And it's an epidemic right now. It's very easy to get if you say that you can't focus and you can't do this.
Right. Another thing that's just like, okay, here.
Before you know it, I was on 60 to 80 instant Adderall milligrams a day.
It's like literal meth.
Genuine methamphetamine. Literally picked my skin apart. I'm still scarred to this day. It's okay. Now, the only thing that I could do is do like a chemical acid burn to get these scars off. I don't have to be scarred forever, but genuinely, this is just the reality. Like, people don't talk this way. I don't know why. Yeah. This is real. This is the reality. The only reason that I got off lamotrigine and I got off Adderall is because I ran out.
I remember.
When I was in London. I was working for my friend who has a disability. Love her so much, but she needs to travel with AIDS. She's on a vent. She has a tube, but she's my bitch. And she was like, listen, I really want to go to London. I'm going to be bringing another aide with me. It's going to be great. We're going to go for like this many days. I've really wanted to go. Like, it's going to be a once in a lifetime. That's everything that happened during that trip, because it was a shit show, but it was so beautiful. Literally, Rachel almost died. All of her equipment shorted. We had to go to the hospital like the first day. Like, little tidbit, if you're traveling with somebody who's disabled, make sure you check the voltage for the machine of what they have and the voltage of whatever country it is that you're traveling to, because we didn't think about that. Holy shit. It's literal physics. The other aide that I was with is studying to be a doctor. Like, we're smart. Yeah. We know this. It's literally circuitry. And we shorted both. And the machines went out. Anyways, one of the most stressful and beautiful trips of my life. I don't regret it. It was extremely loud in the sense of how my life is going to be and how I'm going to look at things, and really just appreciating how we are able-bodied and that we are able to navigate this world. Yeah. Anywho, on this trip, I ran out of the Adderall and I ran out of the lamotrigine, and there was nothing I could do. I self-sabotaged so badly that I didn't fill my scripts before I went, and that was also for a reason, quite divine. Yeah. Quite painful. Being there and knowing like, wow, I have this much of the day to get through. I am this isn't a leisurely trip at this point. It's work. And you're always at somebody's beck and call. So like, even when you're sleeping, like if there's a slight change in her machine or something, or if she needs readjustment, that's me. And I am never and will never be that type of person where I can like let her just like be there. Yeah. Like, so having my meds run out during a trip like that, I mean, how could I go back to it?
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this was genuinely the most stressful thing in my life, but also paradoxically the most beautiful. And here I am coming off of this. So it's doable. You don't have to live your life like that.
No.
I still feel certain ways, but during that time, I could tell you what was very loud was my body was out of alignment with my soul and my mind. And I was very skinny and I felt good, but I also felt so incredibly heavy and empty at the same time.
Yeah.
And I wrote that in a note that I found in my journal not too long ago. And I was like, I feel so empty and it feels so full.
Such a crazy experience to feel that way.
Yeah.
To feel like the hollowness, but also like
so
the heaviness
full.
at the same time. I've definitely have felt that way before.
Yeah.
It's like, it's crazy because it's kind of like paralyzing. Like you can't.
It's beyond paralyzing.
Yeah, you feel like you can't move. You can't do anything about it. Because again, they're so contradicting. It's like an emptiness, but also a heaviness. And you're just like in like a free state at that point.
Well, that's why I've always also been interested in duality and juxtaposition as a whole, whether it's within the English language, which a little background, my father, which is, I owe a lot of the way that I am to him. Mm-hmm. This is like this whole setup, this whole podcast, this is very him. I grew up around this in terms of microphones and cameras and lights and editing. And that's also why I was so willing to do this with you. I've just always been comfortable with that. He works in TV studio and media production. Okay. He does that for my high school and for the school district since I was born. So he's extremely skilled in that realm, and he's also a people person and has a great radio voice. He was like president of the radio club. He genuinely was the voice of the morning announcements every day at school.
I remember you telling me that.
The Pledge of Allegiance every day, like a school of thousands of people, my high school, and my father is the voice. So I owe a lot of this to him. And I'm very grateful for that as well, regardless of the role that he plays in my life right now. I owe a lot of that to him, and a lot of the way that I like carry myself and my charisma and my active listening to him as well. So
I love it. Amazing. I love everything that you're sharing, and I'm just like, I'm sure we could talk for hours, but there is so much for us to talk about. Like there is so many different, I feel like we touched on so many, not even close to all of them, just like subtopics that we are going to go so much deeper into. And I think we talked about today how we want it to be like an introductory episode, and that is exactly what happened. But I think, I don't know if you agree with me, but our next episode, like our first like real episode, it seems like we came to the agreement that next time we want to talk a little bit about the quantum, a little bit about neuroscience, a little bit about like, you know, our realities, and just going a little more, I would say, in depth to what we just discussed a little earlier, but with practical ways, like not just us having a conversation. This was like meant to be like a banter kind of conversation introductory, but moving forward, I feel that our episodes are a lot going to be helping, like, okay, like this is how you do this. Like this is like how the brain works. This is how this system works. This is in relationships, in life, in fitness, in wellness, in, you know, in work, and all of these things. It will be like a major how-to for life, honestly.
It's kind of just the culmination of all of it is what we want to talk about.
Yeah, I think that's why we're struggling with like a name for the podcast, because we're both like, we don't want to pigeonhole ourselves. We really want to be able to talk about everything that it is that we want to talk about. So I know that everything
that we want to talk about, but also in the sense of like helping you guys apply that to your life. Like you said.
Exactly. Like, we don't want to just come on here and chat. Yeah.
Like real life application. And also, I'm also just a very open person. I've been through shit. I've overcome it overcome it, however you want to say that. And I want to show you guys and tell you guys, like, this is the application, this is what we're talking about, and this is my real life experience. So perhaps
here are like some of the mistakes that we made that maybe you don't have to. Like,
no, like not maybe, things, like you definitely don't have to. Like this is
no
what
regrets,
we did.
But there's some things, and I think I was saying this to you last night, like no regrets, but there's some things that I'm like, I could have skipped. I didn't have to go that way. Like there's certain
not even
things,
like it doesn't have to go that way. It didn't have to like repeat that.
No, exactly.
Times.
Right. You don't have to, you know, see the lesson once and learn it once. Like discernment is like seeing the lesson again and not needing to learn it again to get to the end of it. Right. Like you need to get to the end of it to learn again.
Here's why.
Right.
You're going through that.
Right.
Here's your choice now. Yeah. Do you want to go through it again? Here's the reason to not.
If not next episode, maybe next or the one after that, we'll decide. But I think I would actually love to do an episode on lessons showing back up in like many areas of life, like, and how they they will keep showing back up until you learn the lesson. Like, that's just law. Like, that will never end. Like, you will keep, I think we really need to talk about that, because I know that, unfortunately, like, I never learn a lesson the first time.
Oh.
Never do.
No. Well, that's because we're so
I need like shit thrown in my face. Yeah, I need shit thrown in my face like 5 times for me to be like, okay, I get it.
Like, to the point where I'm like begging and crying.
Yeah. it is a little bit of being like stubborn and defiant, and
I'll
then
go
like
extremely
and then I'm on my
stubborn.
knees to God, and I'm just like,
I'm like, how did I even get here? I don't even remember getting here.
Yeah, and it's like slapped outside
literally years of the same decisions, and you're like, what did I do?
Yeah, but you know what you did.
You chose that.
Yeah, you know what you did. You know what you did. But
and so kind of just like showing you guys, not kind of, showing you guys that you don't have to do that. You don't have to do what we did. And that, you know how everybody says like, oh, nobody has a universal experience, or it's all universal experience.
Yeah.
What is that?
I don't know if what you're trying,
like, nobody has their own like experience. You know what I'm saying?
No, now I don't.
Yes, you do. You know,
I thought you meant that nobody has the same experience.
No, it's just like, wow, I've never had an original experience. You know? You see that on TikTok?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Like that.
We do all have the same,
Right.
it's almost like we have like the same like canon events in our life.
Yeah.
We all have the same.
You're like, oh.
Yes, I know what you mean now. That, yes, obviously there's some things that certain people go through that are like an outlier, but yes, there are things. But it's also not an original experience.
No, not original. But then it's so funny. I mean, we're so similar. That's why we're able to talk about these things. And like when we're like speaking about things that happened in the past, we're like, oh yeah, like able to get it on a different level, but not like overreacting in a way that's like, that what you're telling me that's traumatic is so foreign, because then you know, like, oh wow, this girl doesn't get it.
Yeah.
But showing you guys in a way of like, it could be crazier than you think.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
I do get what you're saying, and that I think also, I don't know, just that we get it. Like, we really do get it. And I think even when you say it could be crazier than you think, sometimes I even think the opposite, where people think like, this is only happening to me.
That's true.
And it's like, no, it's not. And not to downplay your pain of like, no, it's not. But in a relieving way of like, it's not just you. Like, this is a lived experience. Like, it's
a lived experience. And also, like, you know, if you're feeling ashamed, you're in that vibration, you're holding things back. You're like, well, I don't want to tell somebody this because like they won't get it.
Right.
Or this thing that I'm struggling with actively on a daily basis is I'm now going, and I do this, I'm going to downplay it and minimize the problem because I feel like it's not real enough, or it's not big enough that it's really even worthy.
I really resonate with that.
That it's not worthy talking about, like
to bring it up or to talk about it.
When I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about with you today, I'm like, okay, well, I could talk about like what I'm struggling with in my life. I'm like, well, that's dumb though. Nobody wants to hear that. When in reality,
that's not like, that's a very felt experience.
Yeah.
Of people being like, no, she doesn't want to hear about that. He doesn't want to hear about that. They don't want to hear about that. That's stupid.
Like, that's my life. That's so like small. When in reality, no, it's actually pretty big, because if we all have similar experiences, then that's pretty important.
Yeah.
It's just where you are. Like, coming past that point of, okay, this is dumb, or this is mundane. You know what I'm saying?
It's not.
Like, I don't have to be some safari girl in Africa for people to want to listen to what I have to say. Because the reality is, when I have been talking to so many people, which I am a yapper, they do a lot of times are like, they're like, really, this happened to you? And I'm like, well, I'm telling it with such charisma that it has to have happened to me. I didn't just make this like this. I wish this was a comedy bit, but like,
it's not a bit.
Unfortunately, this was my life.
Happened to me.
I am laughing about it now because I got past it, and like some of these things, like breaking my own hand, and then having to lie to people. They're like, what happened? I'm like, I fell. I'm like, I don't know. They're like, oh, who'd you punch? Like, no one. I'm so angry at myself.
I did it.
Like, is that so pathetic? But that's the truth. Like, people, oh, did you really break your own hand? I did. In half. I broke my, no, like literally.
Compound fracture.
In half, broke the bone, and then was cast like that. I mean, that's the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, other people, guys, I mean, you guys don't talk about it. Perhaps you don't want to talk about why you broke your hand. Most guys have broken hands from punching the wall. How about you talk about why you punch a wall? All right, you don't want to talk about it because you don't want to acknowledge it.
Yeah.
But here we will acknowledge it because we want to help.
Men and women.
Men and
Both.
women.
That is
girls and gays and theys and thems.
All of them. All of them. Everybody is welcome here.
Everybody's welcome here. We're not saying no to anybody.
We all have,
and we don't want to minimize your life because it deserves a platform as well.
It absolutely does. Absolutely does.
And that's what I want to do here. And I'm so grateful for you to have
so
taken me on with you.
Of course. I feel like we're gonna do so much, and I'm so excited to have you with me. And I don't want to, I hate saying that because I don't want to, and I want to make sure that I disclaim that. Like, I don't want to make it sound like you're here to be with me. Like, this is us. Like, yes. I am so excited that we're going to be doing this together. And this is just, everything about it feels so aligned. Like, I feel like our relationship in general almost felt like when you meet somebody and you rush into things, it's like you guys are living together already. It's been 2 weeks since, and then you're like, well, we're in love. Like, I feel like with you, it's just like, we're doing this, we're doing that. Let's do the podcast. Like,
well, like the first time I met you,
you know.
Well, I think like when we first met, I think you said those things to me. I don't know if before or after that, when you asked me if I was okay dying from the asthma attack, if you had me on your close friends. Before, after that, definitely. And then you put me on your close friends after that, and I was like, damn, like she's funny. Like we get like the same things, but then we went running. Yeah. And I was like, guys, I'm not a runner. No, I can't say this. I'm not gonna die at the High Rocks. No. It's going to be an experience at the High Rocks. I'm going to like.
Devin says she has asthma.
I have asthma.
Devin ran a 5K at the track that day and talked for 30 minutes straight.
For 30 minutes, I talked about my whole life, but I did run the 5K.
I know, but even at the track that we ran, it was a 5K. It was 3.2
that was really
miles.
hard for me.
We did good though. We had a good pace. We talked literally the entire time.
And that's when I knew. I was like, I was like, I like that girl. I was like, I think that I'm really like. I was like, we're definitely going to be friends. Like, I don't know how this is going to happen, but like it will happen. And even like leading up to this, because last weekend we were supposed to do this and it fell through, whatever. It didn't happen.
Align,
it didn't align. And now that it is, it's like, I like subconsciously, I told a lot of people at work about it. I'm like, I'm going to be doing this podcast. I don't know if they believed me or they thought that it was like a small scale production, like in my bedroom, like on like a memo, like an audio memo.
I know what you mean. The voice memo.
The voice memo. I always look up audio memo when I go to look for it. Like, I think they're like, that's great, Devin.
Nice, Devin.
Even though they're like, that's so good. I think I talk so much. They're just like, like half the time.
You're like, I'm just going to start recording
And then other people I didn't tell because I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't want that. Like, I know. I actually have a lot of confidence. I don't think that I'm not worried about this. But in the beginning, I was like.
And I knew that you wouldn't be. And that was like the thing for me that I'm like, I didn't want to bring somebody on that I would have to like
coach
through it and like be like, it's okay. And I think I was actually doing that too, like a couple of days where I was just like, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine. But I'm like, I knew that I didn't have to worry about you. And I knew that we would just be able to bring the same energy and the same weight to every episode and that we wouldn't have to like compensate for each other, that it would just be so good.
Like, it's not like I came into this thinking like, oh my God, I have to be like respectful.
I know you're like, do I button?
Like, I have to be like
button?
the anchor man on the news. Like, it's not that big. Like, on the whole news. Like, I was on News 4 New York one time shoveling snow. And it's like I'm doing that right now. Like, that's how I thought I had to show up to this. Or like I'm showing up to like present a big paper.
Yeah,
like
that's when you were like, what are we gonna wear? I'm like, I'll dress nice for her today.
Like, why am I wearing this?
I will be in sweatpants and probably a tank and sneakers our next episode. And like, if you want to continue to wear this, like,
this is a great outfit, but it's very proper for no reason.
Right.
Like, wow, I was so nervous and so scared. Like, I knew, like, everything prior to this, like, I've spoken on big stages. Like, I've talked to a lot of people. I've been in things that are aired on TV. Like, it's not about, I've sang in front of people that those are hard things. Those are but I'm not doing any of those things right now. This is the one thing that I know I can excel in. And still I was like,
because this is you being perceived, though. I think in those other things, it was almost like an act. It was like a drama. Not that it was an act, but like you're on stage.
My life is a drama.
Your life is a drama. This is actually like our route that we're going with this is both of us will be seen. Like we both.
Well, for sure.
We will be seen.
I goddamn hope. This is for no reason.
We will be seen internally. I also mean like that, like we're kind of exposing ourselves a little bit, I think.
Well, a lot of it.
And I think you know that, so you're like, who am I going to be when I show up today? And it's like, whoever the fuck you want to be. Like, just be who you are.
I don't have to be anyone else.
Right.
Like, the way that I was feeling leading up to this was just because those were my past experiences.
Exactly.
So, and also like performing to play a role, like I had a title and I need to be presented as that. Yeah. And I don't have to do that now. And it's like a crazy good thing. Like I'm not at work. Like I would be the one who was setting this up at work. Right. Like we just hired a social media girl. But before this, like if I was to do something with the doctors, I would be the one coaching them. Yeah. I'm the one behind the camera. I'm the one that has to cut everything together later. Like the fact that I don't have to be that girl is so great. Like
Jay does. Jay's that girl.
I know. I love that for you, but not for me. I don't want to do it anymore.
Well, here you are on the other side.
I would like to be here. And the fact that I was presented with this opportunity by you, it's
going to be great. Do you have any final words?
My final words.
Should I not have asked Jay?
No, I'll make it short. My final words are talk to yourself kindly, because that's what we were talking about recently. And it's just so simple.
It's very important.
Say the analogy. I'm done. That's it. Talk to yourself kindly. Before I get into something else, a person told me at this thing that I was at, quick. And I asked a question, and he was like a researcher, and it was at Prime, this meeting, and I thought I was so cool. I was like, I have a really good question. And he told me it was a long-winded question in front of the whole audience.
Oh, that was mean.
And I had a microphone, and it was really a smart question. And he told me it was long and winded, and so I remember that.
What was it?
And so that's it. Speak to yourself kindly.
Not everyone but that guy.
Talk nice to yourself. Everything but that guy needs help. He hated me because he didn't want to answer my question. And so because of that, talk to yourself kindly.
Talk to yourself kindly. It goes a long way. And we'll be back. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks probably, but I'm excited.
Yay.
Bye, guys. How'd we do, Jay?